We got 4 million views in the last 2 weeks.
Gardaloo.
What? Welcome back to the Smart Nonsense Podcast, where we talk about entrepreneurship, self-development, challenging norms. I took the hook today. That's a hard job.
Yeah, I tried. We'll probably keep it in. I stuttered deep, dude. Hey, we got a lot of views and that was into like before Slick's generation deep.
Pop, you got 4 million views on your YouTube and your TikTok.
Hey, I'm a wee guy, dude. And by
Wee?
we, I mean mostly Darren.
Mostly
Darren got a lot.
you,
Although,
Darren, and Arv.
Arv rips.
And
Coy.
Coy.
I don't know which one Coy did of those.
They're
all
names.
ripping.
It's the Names Podcast. We just talk about people that
You
nobody
guys know?
knows.
We got a big team. We got 60 people. This podcast, what are we talking about? We're talking about having way too big of a team.
Really? Okay.
We got a lot. We went viral. We realized, hey, this thing that we went viral for, why don't we sell that? Because everyone else is canceling. I think the last podcast, that was like a month ago. It's been dark. Really, really dark. We haven't shot podcasts because it's like all our energy goes into what the fuck are we doing?
And saving.
Saving. Henry was firefighting for like 4 hours straight this morning. It's the ups and downs in the roller coaster where like a month or two ago, because I'm only really out here playing tennis, reading books, trying to shoot viral content. I smell in the air a musk of death.
Let's tell people why, right? So, like, what's your job? You're like, well, you're Chief Keef. You're Chief Keef. You're chairman of the board. What we want you to do all day long is, like, be free from the day-to-day of what Clipped is so that you can keep us on track. You can keep us going towards some North Star so we can find product market fit. And it's my job to then institute those things and basically operate the company.
Right.
So
I guess for a while I've been preaching like, hey, let's go viral because like life would be a lot easier if the things that we say work well, which are like animated clips. If those actually did well on our own channels, then like we wouldn't have to worry about doing outreach, or like we could even monetize our own channels and like build a business that way, be more sustainable. So I was always like, hey, the future, I think we all agreed, was our own content because that's infinitely scalable. And we like heard of people going viral, but never did it ourselves.
And it's the only thing we have complete control over.
Right.
It's like we always tell clients, hey, you should try this. Why don't you shoot for this? Let's hop on a call and like get your microphone set up like this. And it doesn't work.
The evolution of our agency was first a proper ass agency where we were working closely with clients doing actually, God, we haven't updated much. We got a fucking anti-agency. I don't know if you guys know that, but we were working super closely, like on calls, giving strategy, all this stuff, but we didn't really know strategy. We didn't know what we were doing. We were new to it. We were just deep in it. So we kind of built a business trying to productize that so we could get off the client calls and like just give them what they wanted. But what they wanted was not what they needed. They thought they wanted super animated clips because they saw a couple go viral on Twitter and like, just give me that. I'm like, hey, those don't continue to go viral. Or it's like not worth the energy that goes into them if you're trying to repurpose clips into something super animated.
Those are really crazy.
Absurd. And the problem was we thought we had product market fit because you come back to November 2021, we sold out. We had all these videos of like, oh, we just launched this thing and in a week we sold like $100,000 of monthly recurring revenue. So like over $1 million a year in theory of sales, just like that. So we were stoked and we were like, hey, we got to hire a shitload of people to do exactly this. But at the time I was like, hey, I'm seeing the people that buy and they don't really get views. So I'm like smelling cancellation in the air, whatever. Our team hears us and they're beasts. So they hire like 20 people. Now we hired 20 people, but we're like, we don't want to be an agency. We just want to do this one thing. Turns out like a lot of people started canceling, like our fears. So we just had literally 20 people not working with clients who we're paying for, and we just lost a shitload of money, anywhere between 60 and 150,000, depending on what accountant you use. We lost a lot of money.
Cash base or accrual.
Right. I don't know what they're using. But basically, we went through the whole, like, let's take away strategy altogether. Let's not do that at all. And then we just saw people using our extremely talented editors and animators very poorly and getting bad results. A couple would use them well, but they'd use them in ways that kind of had the same realization we had, where it's like, oh, animation looks dope, but when I dial it back, I can just do more quantity and get more viral attempts.
And then what happens? we totally bring down the barrier of what we're doing. It's a super basic edit, and then those clients just end up taking it in-house.
Right.
Because anybody can do it and replicate it and do it cheaper.
Right.
So it's highly competitive.
So it's basically like picture a world where your least successful clients, they cancel. Your most successful clients, they also cancel. And you're left with like this in between of like not super happy, but like there's no real force to cancel yet. So we're basically like everyone just teetering on the edge of like, stop the views and I'm going to cancel right away. And we give them that flexibility because that's one of our tenets. So this last month or two with this like hands-off approach of like going towards the marketplace, like, oh, they're not doing a good job. They're not getting views. I'm like, they're probably going to cancel, or we both realized they're probably going to cancel. We just hoped they wouldn't so that we could build our own brands in the meantime. Turns out they all canceled. Like we had this huge dependency of people that started in January. There were like 2 6-month contracts that amounted to almost $100,000 each, probably $100,000 each, which that is total. Right, so we were expecting $100,000 to come in on July, like when that 6-month contract expired. So we're like, okay, that'll be really good because we've been struggling with cash flow. Like we barely make every payroll each month. So we're like, okay, we'll be fine in July. That'll give us like at least a month to a breathing room, and we can just cook. We're like that month buffer will always be there, so we don't have to really stress about payroll every single time. Turns out both of those people weren't really getting results, lost reason for why they're doing everything,
and we
didn't buy.
And we knew that for a long time, but we didn't step in because our model was marketplace. It was hands-off marketplace. You have one of our teammates, and it is your job to work with them. I think the world in which marketplace works, you have to have a really good customer service, and you just have to expect churn. It's like these are like software marketplaces. There's tons of churn, and you have to have world-class customer support, and we were doing no customer support effectively.
Well, what was cool, like basically a couple of takeaways from this David Sachs birthday. He's PayPal founder and Yammer. You're not a business, so you don't know that. But like basically like around billionaires, and he's super smart. And he's like, hey guys, you're trying to run this like software business. What's your churn like? And I don't know. He basically said like say your churn is every 10 months. So
yeah. He said, well, say it was like 10%, and you have 40 clients.
Well, 10% means they're basically going to churn every 10 months or so. Whatever it is. Say it's 10% churn. That means, and you have 40 clients, you're going to have 4 every month churning. So like canceling. So it's like, okay, that means you need to bring in 4 more clients just to break even. Mm-hmm. That's when I was like, oh, fuck. That's kind of a lot because we maybe get 4 if we're lucky. Who knows? You can't really predict it because we don't do any outreach. We don't do any like paid. That's kind of predictable. It's just like sometimes we get a swarm, sometimes we don't. So when we don't, it gets really scary. So he said this, and I was kind of worried. I'm like, yo, Belky, this means to keep up with our churn. And our churn is assuming 10%. What if it's 30%? Which it turns out it is. Mm-hmm. It's like they churn every 3 months.
Or it was, right? Because all these people signed up at the same time. They all churned 6 months into the year when they're trying to clean up their books because things aren't working, and they're trying to like end the year fiscally responsible.
So we had a week in July. Like we went to meet our friends, and we're basically over the moon. We're like, hey, we're at 150,000, almost 150,000 MRR, which means like nearly $2 million a year, of which we should. You text me like, hey, we're each profiting like $430,000 a year or something crazy. In theory. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, dude, I'll believe it when I see it hit. Like, that's just the one thing from business learning. Like, hey, theoretical doesn't matter. Every theory is bullshit until you see cash in the bank account, and then it's like, okay, now it's real. So quickly, that came down. It's probably closer to like 110,000 right now. I don't even know what it is, but it's not good. But on the other side, we're like, okay, the old marketplace model is dying. We're like, we have lightning in a bottle because, as you've heard with that sweet, sweet hook, the last 2 weeks, we've gone viral on multiple occasions. Like at first, I don't know if we shot a pod on this. I think the last pod we shot, it was right as we were dropping the first bomber clip.
Yeah, it was something about 300,000 views.
Right.
You got 300,000 views in 7 days.
Right. I don't know if we released the next one because I fell on this thing and the audio broke 60 seconds in, less than that, 30 seconds in. Because my hook was fucked, so I fell on the ground, and that fucked everything. But so basically, before we thought, okay, one, this could just be a fluke. Like that went viral, but that's carrying everything. Like the next couple weren't really doing well. So I started getting like nervous. You're like, oh, now you're going to start making bomber videos and World War II videos because that's your niche. That's where people want you. And then shortly after that, a love test, a relationship test video went viral on TikTok, got almost 1 million views. So we're like, oh shit, we're actually onto something. And then over the next couple weeks, I just kind of put stuff up and been loosely tracking it. This last week, I didn't track it really at all.
There's actually, so you were going viral on TikTok, then a week or two goes by and really nothing's hitting on TikTok.
Right. It's still, I guess it's kind of hitting. I don't know. I haven't even opened TikTok, but we're shitting on like shorts and Instagram. We're like, yo, you guys know what you're doing. They're just giving like 2,000 views to everyone. But then out of nowhere, 10 days after I publish it, there's this other, this video about why don't planes fly faster, which is like planes fly the same speed as they did 60 years ago in the 1950s. It's like, why is that? That video is basically at 2 million views and
On YouTube. Right. Right. So what happened is TikTok slowed down, but then on YouTube you started to see, oh, we both had on all of our shorts like 2,000 views each, but then yours had 50,000 views.
Right.
And then 70,000. And then 110 and then one.
It just rockets. And the cool thing, well, one, YouTube, I was talking with my dad about this, but it's like YouTube versus TikTok versus like Instagram, particularly YouTube versus TikTok. Like TikTok is new and everyone thought that was going to be fleeting, but it's still like, it could go away in a second because Lindy is this effect where basically if you assume everything that can live forever, like not people, like people die, like they're not Lindy, but like say a book or a platform that'll have a life that looks like goes up, it's a bell curve, and then it goes down at some point, and it's like symmetric on both sides. So if you're just assuming on average you should be roughly in the middle of a lifetime, it's like that means that however long something has existed is how long it's going to last, how much longer. So it's like YouTube's been around for, call it 15 years, it'll probably be around for another 15. TikTok, that's been around for like, I don't know, 3 years?
2, yeah.
So it's probably going to be around for another 3, unless it just out of nowhere gets banned. So if you're going to bet on a platform, better to bet on YouTube. And plus there's, it's like the second largest search engine. So TikTok, you don't search, it just comes up, versus YouTube, I don't know what percentage, but a good amount and probably growing amount will be from search. And the cool thing with our little formula of how do we go viral, it's just like we're patenting our views formula, which might not be the final formula, but it's like the first thing about getting views, it's an acronym, is viral. Like pick something that's already viral. For example, yesterday I saw this video of McDonald's, like they were making patties really fast and it was behind the scenes, and I sent it to you and we're like, oh, that's really cool, we should make a short on that, or you should. And it's like take something that's already viral, like that's got millions of views, let's just react to that, do a breakdown or do like some story. I basically just remixed, like all my stuff is just other videos that are long form, but traditional YouTubers are too scared or just don't want to do short form. So this massive opportunity.
Or just don't know, like it's not obvious.
Right.
The fact of the matter is you sit around all day consuming this stuff and looking at these different strategies and seeing what other people are doing, and we're constantly testing stuff. It's like it's not super intuitive.
Well, that's the funny thing to me.
Like it's not intuitive, and maybe we'll talk about it, but repurposing podcast clips, super hard. That took us a year and a half to learn.
Right. And we're still bad at it. Like that's not our niche. So we're like, let's focus on what we're good at. But we didn't know we were good at it till we tried it ourselves, which is, hey, skin in the game.
I bet you 80% of people that listen to this, they might know skin in the game as like a phrase. I guess that's like an idiom. Probably don't know that it's a book by Nassim Taleb.
Yeah.
Which is how you mean it.
Skin in the game. But I think it was a phrase before. So I don't know. So
Just
we're finally
drop it.
doing it. Like we're putting our something where our mouth is.
Money.
We're
Yes.
putting our money where our mouth is. Really? That's the phrase?
Yeah. Put your money where your mouth is. You're saying all this stuff. Why don't
Right.
you like spend some money on it?
And one thing we've been saying forever, and it was mostly because we couldn't do it, was like, hey, don't chase virality. Virality's bad. You don't want that. Do it for the love of the game. It's like, yeah, okay, you can love the game and also go viral.
Yeah.
Like, how about we just start by going viral and then like figure out how that matches up with what feels like play to us. Like, let's do a best of both worlds. And so that's where like my content, the last like 2 months or whatever, everything I'm consuming, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of cool ideas. I try and tell them on the podcast, I don't go viral. But then when you like just tell it straight to the camera, doing it native for TikTok or Shorts, it's like, oh, people like that. I wonder, because you care enough not to repurpose it. That's probably why.
Yeah, right. It's all in the packaging. That's what we've learned.
So what are we doing now? Because we're in this like fucking predicament where we thought we were gonna escape from trying to make payroll every month to now, oh shit, this is like the hardest payroll to make. We just paid it half on credit card. Like every pretty much payroll is like half on credit card at this point. But we basically bought ourselves like 2 weeks. So your job now is to try and replicate what I'm doing, where like 50% of my videos go viral. Like, can we do something similar with yours? The problem is it takes like 10 days for anything to kick in. So
well, TikTok was immediate.
See. Right. TikTok
your
gives
very
you
first TikTok video, yeah, just crack to the veins. Heroin to the veins.
That is the good thing.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, you get the immediate test, and then you see like if time backs it up on YouTube. And you have this like posting for years evidence with YouTube. That's why I didn't really want to start a new channel, because like YouTube probably judges them more harshly. It's like, oh, they've been trying for a while. I feel like they want to reward people like that.
That's what I think is like once you get north of 1,000 subs, YouTube starts being really nice to you. Like the algorithm. I'm sure they have some bars
that was literally it. I hit 1,000 subs and then it was fucking
right.
Or it
so
was
it'll
like
be curious starting from scratch. I mean, your TikTok was starting from scratch, and there are some clients we can also test this on. So next steps are like, can we replicate this for me? If we can replicate this for me, that's really compelling. If we can replicate this for a random client,
right,
it's over.
Right. So our steps right now are, originally it was like, can we build the anti-agency, which is like we had 10 clipped commandments, which is how we work differently versus other agencies, because now we're going back to agency.
That's still where we're going.
We are doing that, but now we're like, oh, we just had someone else try and cancel 2 editors today. So we're like, fucking every day feels like another cancellation. It's like, oh my God. We know we're sitting on gold because we just got millions of views. Like we got M's. We talk about M's. It's like, you want to see an M on your YouTube studio. It's like, oh, that's a fuckload of people. We want to sell M's. Like that's our pitch now. It's
that's
like,
what people want.
We make you viral.
That's just what people want.
I think that, and then now your vlogs just get a lot more views. It's like, why am I putting all this effort into it?
Yeah.
Like, give me something in
return.
Right,
like these clients, they don't want to make videos. They want...
Very few people actually want to make videos. Right. I think just us.
They want the marketing. They want the brand recognition. They want the views. That's my point.
So we're going to sell them that. So right now we're still working on the website, but like first priority is just survival.
Hey, the important thing there is, does this come from Alex Hormozy? It's like you need to sell people the outcome. It's probably not from Hormozy, but
it's also from Sachs.
It's also but basically like
don't sell them the tool, sell them the outcome. Same thing here. Don't sell them the video editor, sell them the views.
Right. What's the outcome? These people want 1 million subscribers. They want to be able to drive people to their platform or their course or something else. They want to be a recognizable name. That's the outcome. Sell that.
So we did this. I guess the problem, like the crazy, why everything's a head spin right now is, one, we thought we had product market fit in November. So we hired a bunch of people by January. It's like, now we have 60 plus people. And we're like, holy shit. But it turns out a lot of those people, we didn't know what our product or market was. Like, we're just now figuring out, oh, we're really good at scripted shorts, animated shorts. It's like, we don't know if a lot of our team can do that because we kind of hired them for like generic video editor and or animator. Like, we don't know who's good at what. We've lost track. We've just been like negligent in theory, even though I don't know what negligence is.
Well, they came in at different times, right? So we thought we had product market fit. So we booted everything up. We grew really fast. We lowered our standards for hiring to grow that fast to satisfy demand. And it turns out that demand was kind of hazy for this thing that doesn't work. 6 months later. It works for like, you could make it work for 3 or 6 months. But that's just going to be a lifetime of churn and trying to keep up with cash flow and like all the things that we don't like about agencies. That's why we're becoming an anti-agency. It's like, you could be okay with that, but we're just not.
What I want is like the best, everything in life, Naval says is compound interest. It's like relationships are compound interest. You invest today, but it's like the gains pay off years from now when it's like we can do any business together and we don't have to do contracts ever. Like that's just not a thing. Versus do contracts with anyone on the street and you're going to have to, or do business with anyone, you're going to have like lawyers, everything, contracts everywhere. So I would much rather have than the churn. It's just like, hey, let's work with people for years and they want to keep working with us and at a higher price point. Like if we're selling the outcome, they don't care how many editors there are. Like I don't care honestly anything about the editors right now. I'm just like, is the video awesome? Does it deserve to go viral? And let's just throw it out there. So we're just selling them that. We can now have like, say 10 grand minimum as the monthly recurring subscription and then put one editor on that. But it all depends on the strategy. Like, let's make sure that the strategy is good, which is like today, for example, it's kind of like, oh, one of my ideas for this podcast was I just become like the guy whose ego gets to his head, where it's like, I got all these fucking views and I'm just like fucking telling you what to do, but I forgot about it. And
oh, he's not an actor.
I just want to be a douche.
He's not an actor.
I'm not I'm just a TikTok actor. But I don't want to let like the ego get to my head and like think I know what the algorithm wants when I'm just like, it's like the people that make a lot of money, but it's just pure chance. And now are like, oh, I'm going to teach you how to get rich. But it's like,
true.
So I don't want to be that guy, but I do think like,
but the difference was you were judging these based on inputs,
right?
No matter what happened with the views. Really?
I can tell a bad video.
Yeah.
I think that's our point.
Yeah.
Right.
The difference was whether these got views, we're stoked they're going viral, right? That seems replicable to us. But if they didn't, the inputs are still good. You're still proud of them. They still deserve to live on the internet. You would still tell people to go watch them.
That's where I'm thinking, like, if people ask, for example, like right now, we have a big ass team. So like my goal right now is like, let's figure out who is the core of who can do exactly what we're the best in the world at, which is short animated clips. Who can do that at our level and only have those people in the company. But my guess is it's like at most half of our current company right now can do that. Jesus, my stutter's bad. Half of our company can do that. It's probably closer to like a quarter that can actually do this. I don't know. We'll see. But fuck, that's my fear. But like, what are we judging people on? Say we're seeing if they meet the benchmark, the threshold. It's like, to me, does it feel criminal to not publish this? It's like Darren does say an amazing edit, and I'm like, oh, I have to see, like the world has to see this. I don't know if it's gonna go viral like it should, but the world like needs to see this. It's such a dope edit. Versus like a lot of people on the team, I'm like, oh, the world doesn't really need to see this. It's like not the best work. It's like a pretty shitty animation. I don't know. It's not really objective either, but there is a visceral feeling. So we're in a weird spot where not making much money, have to downsize the team because we thought we had product market fit, scaled way too fast, which is like the golden rule. Mark Andreessen, I think, said, I forget who, but they're like, do not hire until you hit product market fit. And we did the exact opposite. We hired a fuckload of people, then found out we didn't have product market fit. And now we're trying to refine it, but we think we have it now because like how many people would want the millions of views we just got? Let's just sell them that. But it's going to be messy process because we learned, as I'm no longer CEO, that you can't just oust people without reason and buy-in, or the team will turn against you and you'll get depressed and PTSD for months and maybe years to come.
Oh, you're speaking about yourself.
Depressing.